Hello, happy Monday. I wanted to come on and talk about the energies for the week ahead because I can't remember ever a week that has looked like this astrologically. There is a lot going on, a lot is shifting, a lot is changing, and we're under such heightened and elevated transformational energy. And usually I like to say that transits kind of push and squeeze us into change and transformation, and that's just really kind of what is happening this week. We're getting you can't avoid your fate, you cannot avoid your lessons. The transits and astrology teach us that. Like, if you're meant to go through something, you're gonna go through it. And so eclipses, when outer planets transit, when retrogrades happen, we're all collectively going through these lessons. And how, of course, it impacts us is up to our own natal birth chart. But the general themes and happenings are the same because we can always just see the transits playing out collectively. And so there's a lot that I kind of want to dive into. But I really want to talk about Aries and the Aries part of your chart because we have been going through a 2-year transformation and transition wherever Aries is in your chart. And when it comes to Aries, it's also about your masculine energy. And so we look to your Mars and how you show up, how you show out, how you take action, how you assert yourself, and how you identify. And really your identity is everything, and your identity development and how you see and view yourself really determines your results. What are your beliefs about yourself? What are your standards? What are your boundaries? What is the confidence in which you go about getting the things that you desire? And, do you see yourself as someone who is successful? Do you see yourself as someone who is valuable? Do you see yourself as someone who's worthy and deserving of what you want? Do you see yourself as someone who, this version of you is in alignment with what you want? There was times in my life when I would realize, I was like, oh, I actually don't think I'm in alignment with the things that I want, right? Is the version of me, do I see the version of me? Do I see that person as capable of having XYZ, right? And so our how we self-identify, our self-concepts, our self-beliefs really determines our reality. And so we've had to really shift our focus around how we see and view ourselves. And we've also had to kind of change our relationship with our self-empowerment these last 2 years. These are all of the things that Aries rules and represents. And so really too, for me, it's been a 2-year kind of nervous system journey. It's been a body journey. Everything for me goes back to my goddamn body. Truly, I can see this in my birth chart. I can see this in my healing journey. Just everything for me goes back to my body. And, I've had to really transform my nervous system. And the way that I've had to do that is to really kind of recalibrate and shift my relationship with my own inner masculine in order to become empowered. To be empowered means you can create safety on your own. How do you do that? You look to your masculine energy. You look to your Mars. Mars was a place of wounding in my chart. I have it square Chiron. And I have it in Libra. And so this north node transit of Aries, the south node moving through Libra, has been really kind of confronting for me and my inner masculine. My inner masculine has completely shape-shifted and transformed these past 2 years. And so for you, you want to look to your own Mars, you want to look to your own inner masculine, and you want to look to see if you have any placements in cardinal signs because they have been transformed over the course of this transit. And it's a 2-year cycle because we had the first eclipse April 20th, 2023. It was at 29 degrees of Aries. So we actually had 2 new moons in Aries. In 2023, we had one at 1 degree of Aries, and then we had one at 29 degree of Aries. Of course, the second one was the solar eclipse. you can look back and think back to what you were doing around this time, like April 20th, 2023, but, you know, give or take a few weeks on either side. There is very prevalent and paramount themes that I have been moving through these past 2 Aprils, right? Then, of course, the next new moon solar eclipse that we had was last April 8th, at 19 degrees of Aries, and that was conjunct Chiron, and that was when we all, you know, stopped in the middle of the day and had our fucking eclipse goggles on and stopped and stared at the moon and the sun, right? And that one was a very impactful and transformative eclipse. This was last April, was also when we had the Jupiter and Uranus conjunction in Taurus. And so, you know, our bodies, our nervous systems were expanded and stretched. And I've really been reflecting on all that I've moved and grown through these past 2 years, and it has been super somatic for me. It has been really around the themes of masculine, because again, Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars is your masculine. And so much of, you know, my work is really helping women become more feminine and really get back in touch with their hearts, their authenticity, their truth, their joy, their happiness. And really, if you want to become more feminine, I really now view it through the lens of the masculine, because a lot of the times we either have an overactive or underactive masculine, right? If you have patterns of overthinking, overworking, overhustling, control, you know, just making it happen, like you probably have an overly masculine Mars, right? If you're attracting in men who are more feminine, men who are more passive, right? Men who maybe aren't as on the same level of success that you are, men who are self-interested and self-focused, and the kind of relationships revolves around them. You probably have an over masculinized Mars. Or if you're someone who's been kind of like more of a doormat in dating, and you just kind of let anyone in who wants into the castle, and you have a hard time holding on to things, or you struggle with people pleasing, and you're maybe more of the chaser, and you can be a little bit more needy, more codependent, more insecure, you know, maybe don't like have like the boundaries. You kind of like let people like wish wash all over you. You have an and too, like, because a lot of your patterns stem from insafety and instability. Maybe, you know, you don't have the kind of success, you don't have the kind of relationship with money that you want, or with your body that you want. This is an underactive Mars, right? And so we've really had to shapeshift our relationship with our Mars so that we can take action and we can be confident and courageous and convicted in how we show up and show out. And so it's a good time to really reflect on the patterns that you've moved through these past 2 years, because they have been really profound and really shifting. Like, I can't even recognize the woman that I was 2 years ago. Confirmation. We love a good confirmation belch. And we've really had to like take our embodiment like up a notch, right? There has to be congruence between who you are and who you be, and what you're doing, right? And in order to really, it's so interesting the way that the astrology just tees us up is we've really been under this influence of recalibrating our masculine for the past 2 years, because the universe wants to make sure that you're solid and you're sure as shit in your own inner masculine, right? And when I just describe masculine energy for people, I'm like, masculine energy is so highly misunderstood. It's highly scrutinized, and really we kind of thrive in a world of, you know, the wounded masculine, of the overworking, overhustling, controlling to get results, force, control, power. And that's not actually what true embodied masculine energy feels like. It feels like safety. It feels like security. It feels like support. It feels like honesty. It's integrous. It's humble. It's brave. It's ambitious. It's courageous, right? This is why I think we as a culture love superheroes, myself included, because they actually really embody and resemble what actual masculine energy feels like. Or if you want to attract in a safe, secure man, a safe, secure relationship with the universe, have a lot of faith and trust in the universe, have that secure attachment with money. It looks like embodying your own divine masculine energy. Like, masculine energy to me just feels like a big, like, full body exhale, right? I'm like, ah, oh. Like, ah. Oh. And so what's so interesting is, like, since we've had to work to integrate this and implement this within ourselves, is right after this eclipse, Neptune then moves through and enters Aries. So we always feel outer planet shifts the most the week of their station. And so basically Neptune is finishing out the last degree of the zodiac and the last sign of the zodiac. Like, literally it's starting over, like, ground zero, Fool card, like brand new freaking energy. We haven't had this energy since like 1861, during the Civil War, when Abraham Lincoln was president. Maybe some slight history happening, right? It's going to be an entirely new world, and Neptune dissolves whatever it touches. And so we've had the past 2 years to really kind of reflect and reconfigure our own inner masculine energy for Neptune to just go in and dissolve whatever is not solid, sure as shit, concrete, and real. And so if you've been doing the work the last 2 years, this can be like a really heightened spiritual time for you, right? This can be a time when, like, lots of manifestations can come into fruition. Neptune represents those things. But if you haven't really reconstructed your own masculine energy, this can be a time that can feel really confronting, because it's completely going to shift the energy of Aries. There's going to be almost like a dissolving of masculine energy on, like, a very collective scale, or a misrepresentation of masculine energy through, like, war kind of combative, like, energies, because that's also what Aries rules. And so the world's going to be really starved for this masculine energy, and the people who are embodied and empowered and can create safety on their own can really thrive in this next evolution of life, because we are having all of these inner planet shifts the next few months. Like, we have Neptune moving into Aries, and then Pluto will station retrograde in May. We have Saturn entering Aries in May. We have Jupiter entering Cancer in June, and then we have Uranus moving into Gemini in July. Like, we're going to be having these shifts, like, all year long. And it's really important that you internally have recalibrated so that you actually this is a time when you can really thrive, because whenever shit's going down, whenever things are hitting the fan, whenever there is chaos, there is always the power and the opportunity to change, transform, and receive big manifestations. I've been really reflecting on the last 3 months of this year, since we're already like 1 quarter down, which is kind of crazy. And I was like, honestly, this year has been so confronting, and I've had to just heal and release so much. I'm like, how much healing can one person do, honestly? Like, it has been so, like, physically painful, because, like I said, like, one, that's very South Node in Virgo, but two, like, so much of my chart just, like, goes back to my body. And so I've had to just really heal and release a lot from my body. But at the same time, like, so many manifestations have come through at the same time. Like, I've been a manifesting machine this year already, right? So much has come through. So much magic has happened, and I'm like, oh, right, because I've been doing so much clearing work. And that's really the work of this North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo dichotomy. It's like clearing out the sludge and, like, it's kind of doing the dirty work, honestly, of what was not cleared when the North Node was in Aries and the South Node was in Libra, because we're having to recalibrate internally how we show up to relationships, because we're no longer able to relate to relationships from a place of codependency, people pleasing, being needy, lacking boundaries, putting other people first. That's not going to work anymore. And that's what we've been learning the past 2 years. And so we've had to really shift our own inner masculine and inner feminine. And again, you do that by first looking at your Mars, because when you feel safe and secure with yourself, with your body, you feel empowered, you trust your inner masculine, that you got yourself, your feminine just naturally clicks on. When I work with clients, like we work actually more on their masculine energy, because you either have to soften it or integrate it, right? And then you don't have to really worry about being authentic or worry about being feminine, because it's just innate and natural once you've rebuilt that inner trust and safety with yourself, and you've either leaned back or leaned in. And then that feminine just naturally starts to radiate, and then you just start magnetizing and attracting things to you, and your happiness, your joy, your fulfillment is just naturally there. And it's like, it's always been there, right? You've always been a shiny diamond. It was just buried underneath the masculine, because that's how we as a society have been conditioned. And it goes back to childhood also, and like those dynamics. There's like a hair in my mouth I can't find. There it is. But it's like, so we've had to just really like reacquaint that inner trust with ourselves. And when you do that, your feminine is just like, hi, I've always been here. I've just been waiting. I've just been waiting patiently for you to like raise your standards and have some fucking boundaries so that I could shine and be seen. And what's so interesting now is we have Mercury and Venus retrograde in Aries. And so we are given this opportunity to review, what have you been through the last 2 years? How has your identity developed? How has your authenticity developed? How has your self-assertion energy developed? How have you developed, right? How was your Mars? How has your masculine shifted? And so really reflect on some of the themes, especially these past 2 Aries seasons, these past 2 Aprils with these eclipses, because this is the third and final new moon solar eclipse we're getting in Aries this Saturday on March 29th. That's a Saturday, I think, right? It's like happening in the morning, so 6:58 a.m. So it's like, have you taken more action? Have you developed your identity? Because, you know, if you're not having the outcomes that you want, it's like usually an identity issue. And, you know, it's like who you be is what you have. So your behavior dictates the tangibility of your outcome. It's also about developing impulse control. So many people don't have what they want because they're operating from an emotionally reactive place. And, you know, we look to the ruler of the eclipse, Mars, which has just, you know, recently come out of its retrograde. It's still in its shadow in Cancer. Confirmation. And it's like, Mars in Cancer is the most emotionally reactive placement. Confirmation. And it's like, that's just a surefire way for you to not get what you want when you're emotionally reacting to your environment. And so we're getting this like final culmination, this final review of everything that you've learned and moved through in the last 2 years before Neptune literally immediately then goes and dissolves it all. Like, Neptune is going to dissolve whatever is not safe, solid, secure, supportive, and real. And so it's just a really interesting time. Take this week seriously. And there's going to be a lot of shedding this week because we have the moon now with Pluto in Aquarius, and that's supporting you in kind of shedding any last layers of where you're not being authentic. And then we'll have the moon in Pisces, and moon in Pisces is a time to shed anyway. And then it's meeting this clusterfuck of Pisces energy with Saturn, the North Node, Neptune here before it becomes new. And whenever there's a dark moon, meaning like it's like, you know, before the moon passes the sun and becomes new, when this eclipse happens on Saturday, sorry. It's like, we have to shed, we have to release. And especially because it's in Pisces, especially because this is the last go before the eclipse. And so really like be with your body, really pay attention and focus and learn and like look back and see what those themes have been the last 2 years. Because it's probably around relationships. It's probably around relationships. And so many people come to me because they're not attracting the kinds of relationships that they want. And it's because their inner masculine and their inner feminine, their Mars and Venus, are out of balance. So if you're not attracting the caliber of relationships that you want, it's an internal issue, right? Relationships are just mirrors. So what is it mirroring and reflecting back to you about yourself? How you're showing up, how you're asserting yourself with yourself, and both in relationship. And I've completely transformed my patterning the past 2 years. I'm so proud of myself. And I hope you have too. And we're going to get I say this is largely about relationships because one, eclipses have to do with relationships. And it's the final eclipse in the Aries Libra axis, which is about relationships. And then we have Venus retrograde. So Venus is retrograde. In Aries, she will retrograde back into Pisces on the 27th this week, and she will conjunct Neptune and the North Node and Saturn. So this is a complete gut check of your relationships. This is a complete surrendering, absolving, clearing, releasing around your patterning, around your heart, around your beliefs, right? Pisces is highly subconscious. And so a lot of karmic energy is playing out this week. I will say it's a time when big manifestations can also come through. Again, Pisces is about spiritual mastery. It is about manifestation mastery. It is supposed to be the most powerful sign of the zodiac, but where Pisces gets tripped up is when they're ungrounded and they don't have a strong masculine container to hold their magic, to hold their intuitiveness, and to hold their genius, to hold the connection. And so that's why people with strong Pisces will escape, they'll avoid, they get into addiction, they turn to drugs, to alcohol, because they feel so deeply. And it's like that feeling, that compassion, that empathy is a superpower. But so many Pisces energies just don't have the boundaries to hold themselves. So they just go out into the world and they're absorbing every fucking thing. And it's like, no, sis, make yourself feel safe and secure, and you no longer have to be so spongy to the world around you and like just know what everyone is feeling all of the time. That's a coping mechanism. I recently explained that to a Pisces moon and her mind was fucking blown. She was like, I always thought it was a superpower. I was like, no, it's a coping mechanism, sis, because you don't feel safe in your body. And so your body and your third eye is trying to figure out who is safe and who is not. And you do that by just absorbing everyone else's energy. And then you process it through your body and you feel their emotions for them, which is why people love being around you all the time, because you literally process their feelings and their emotions for them. And then it's like but really you're harming yourself and you're operating from a place of codependency because you don't feel safe in your own body. And so we ought to fix that. It's like we got to use the masculine energy so that you can have boundaries, so you're not just going around absorbing everything all the time. And it's like when you stop absorbing everything around you, you naturally just become more authentic and more magical and more magnetic. So it's a win-win-win-win. And so a lot of where you're not being fully boundaried and self-centered in a good way, in a positive way, I mean that, and really self-fulfilling and independent and sure as shit with yourself and confident and having high standards, all of that is being illuminated this week. And pay attention to what is illuminated back to you and reflected back to you within relationships, because your relationships will mirror to your own energy. And honestly, if you don't have friends that like expand you and show you your shiny parts of yourself, like that's what's going to shift this week. So I've been talking for a long time. There's potential to feel really kind of either drained or energized this week. Doesn't matter, like just depending on how this eclipse is hitting your chart. I feel like pretty energized, which is great. I feel like I don't know, things are happening over here. So things are good over here, but, just really attend to your body, because whenever the moon is involved, the body is involved. Pisces, it's like we're subconsciously clearing a lot from a very physical place. So just tend to your body, get extra rest, just listen to what your body needs this week. And it's a shedding week. It's a manifesting week. Like big blessings and stuff can drop in. Like don't get it twisted. Things get eclipsed in and they get eclipsed out. We give and we receive. Like we release and things come to fruition. So big things can come in this week if you've been doing the work the past 2 years. So we love that for us. Pat on the back. Whole new human over here. And if you want to book a session this week to get a lot of clarity around what might be coming up for you, how to really recalibrate and rebalance and recenter yourself, Your chart is like a puzzle, and I just help you put together the puzzle pieces for your life so that you can naturally align with what you want. It is the shortcut and the life hack. Truly, it's mind-blowing. I love it. It's my favorite thing. So you can book a session if you're interested. You can apply for my coaching, my astrology mentorship. I also have Astrology 101 course. I have a feminine magnetism course. Link in bio, or you can send me a DM. But have a great week. Love you lots. Bye.